Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we have 3 new Kizers available. This is the Kizer Mini Paragon. I don't know how this is a mini. This thing is absolutely crazy. It is a drop point recurved Tonto with a triple grind. We got a flat grind up here. It's a flat grind all the way around, but it's a little thicker here. Then it gets nice and thin here, and then it gets more robust here. So this tip is going to be nice and robust. You're not going to have to worry about breaking that tip for sure. You can use this secondary tip to open things up. However, since it does drop down, you can also use the primary tip. We'll talk more about the blade here in a second. MICARTA scales, very soft textured micarta, nice and grippy. It's definitely gonna age very well and darken up. Then we have a non-deep carry clip, which is probably best because, one, this thing is super comfortable in the hand, at least in my hand. It's very, very comfortable. I do somewhat feel that little corner in certain grips, but only certain ones. Next, we have a micarta backspacer that punches out a little bit. I don't know if that's considered an attitude adjuster or if it's just for looks. It does have some texturing on it. There's texturing in a few different places. Now, great access to the lock bar, and it has a robust, thick lock bar for a liner. Let's listen to that. Now, the action. We have a flipper, nice strong detent too, so breaking the detent does carry the blade the whole way. I'm going to strap it down. Yeah, I mean, it's a heavy blade, so next we have the hole for the thumb flick or the reverse flick. Now, the detent on the reverse flick is a bit strong. However, that breaks in. So, you know, once you start messing with it and using it, it'll unstiffen a little bit. But anyways, great action, you know, especially for such a massive blade. I like that the detent can carry the blade all the way out. Now, it's not going to be for everybody. That's a fact. One, it's a big, beefy blade. I don't know where Mini came from. And, you know, it's not going to speak to everybody. This is a very mean-looking grind. It makes me just want to start cutting something, though. I literally just opened it up, so this is a real first impressions. This thicker grind back here, I'm kind of confused about why this would be a thicker grind. I don't know where the benefits would be there, unless if it's just for looks. A forward choil might have been a little bit more beneficial, but regardless, you know, you'll be just fine. And, you know, this recurve will help trap materials into the grind as you're passing through. But just because I want to try it out and see how this thing cuts really quick. Wow, this thing actually cuts really good. And I am putting my finger over that flipper tab. I didn't think I would do that, but you can a little bit. Yeah, this thing traps materials really good. I'm actually surprised how well it's cutting. But, you know, hey, that's just a little bit of cardboard. So, you know, just as a little first test cut, it doesn't really say too much. So we'll actually see how it winds up working out through some tougher stuff. Now, the price on this, $119. A little bit more on the steeper side because most of their Kizers with the same materials are around $79. However, you can look and see that maybe a bit more work went into this one with all these grinds and everything. So, you know, is it justified? I don't know. I'll let you guys make that decision because, you know, like I said, it either speaks to you or it doesn't. If it doesn't speak to you, it wouldn't matter if it was less money. But, you know, it seems like it might have taken a bit more work to do these. So, and it is a big old chunk of 154 cm. 154 cm, great steel, good edge retention, somewhat of a lower tier mid-grade steel, and it's a great steel, good edge retention, easy to sharpen, strops back really good, very responsive to a strop, likes a medium grit edge. Now, as far as this thing goes, like I said, it either speaks to you or it does not. It's going to be something that it's not going to be useful for everybody, but for the people that it does speak to, they're going to love it. The clip, like I said, not deep carry, but that's going to give you the ability to pull in and out a big knife out of your pocket and, comfortable in the hand. Now, one little tiny issue, I did, upon doing my little check, I did notice there's a tiny, tiny, tiny hint of lock rock when I muscle it. And I'm talking about I'm muscling it. So it's not failing, and it's so small. Like if I just grab it and go like this, there's nothing at all. So that I think is just a break-in thing. I literally just opened it, and like I always tell, I guess I don't always tell you guys this, but I say it quite often that, a little tiny thing when you first open a knife, give it a day or two to break in, because that lock bar, has got to break in underneath the tang of the blade. There could be oil on the tang, make sure that's dry, give it a little bit for that lock bar to engage, because, it is fresh, and a lock bar is designed to, to travel over and find itself a nice snug spot. So, anyways, awesome knife. Pretty cool. It's definitely wicked. Let's check out the next one. So, this next knife actually is a knife that's actually been out, but it's a new version. The Kizer T1 with a satin blade. Now, this has extremely soft micarta. Again, just so soft. You can hear the texture. Deep carry clip, steel back spacer. This one has a shiny one. My other one has a blacked out one. These are awesome. I do have one complaint though, and it's a small complaint, but a complaint regardless. But if you don't know about the T1, it was one of my all-time favorite titanium knives that they had. This was originally a titanium frame lock knife. I'm not sure if it's discontinued, but I know you can still get them. I'm pretty sure you can. In S35VN in full titanium, and it was just done extremely, extremely well. Now, this is the more affordable option in 154 cm micarta with steel liner. Now, complete guillotine action. I mean, it is very, very smooth. The detent is extremely, extremely snappy. Perfect detent. Now, the little issue I have is, and I know this is kind of small, but I'm going to bring up my other one. So, the blacked out one I have. So, I have the blacked out one with the black back spacer, black clip. Now, if we zoom in here, I have resharpened this. I think this has gotten 1 or 2 edges put on it. However, you can see where they did the plunge grind. They started it here and ended it right here, but they actually gave you the ability to sharpen it about 2 times before you'll really hit the choil. But because it was so close, I actually still did wind up hitting the choil. You can see where I scratched the coating off trying to sharpen, because it's so close to the plunge grind right there. Now, obviously, it's just probably going to get worse. Well, this one, they put the plunge grind all the way to the edge before they at least stopped it, a little bit away where you had the opportunity to at least put one good edge on it before it would hit. Now, no matter what, you're going to hit it right away. I wish, those are little details that I really appreciate when they don't do that. When you have a good sharpening choil, when you have a good plunge grind, because in this case, you're not going to be able to avoid it. Now, you could look at it and say, man, that's a work knife, man. Who cares? And I would kind of agree with that. As long as the problem really gets to when the plunge grind goes past where it begins, because then your edge lifts off of the stone and it's very difficult to hit this whole part of the edge. I don't think I'll have that problem with this, but, the issues just keep stacking when you don't have a plunge grind that's, you know, a distance away from the edge, so that you can lay back your angles and resharpen and all that good stuff. But there's a bunch of different reasons why it can be difficult and frustrating. But, you know, like I said before, you know, this is somewhat of a work knife. And even though it does look good, man, you know, it's a tool, and it's not that big of a deal. And, yeah. But the ergos, man, this thing just melts in my hand very comfortably. I love the T1, so, you know, I've raved about the T1 for a long time now. So let's get to the last one. The last one is a knife that has been out for a little bit already. The Kizer Genie. The GE is what they put on here, but the actual name of it is the Genie. Now, this is a new version in their... it's basically a paper micarta. So some people don't like the texturing of this type of micarta. Now, it also comes in this micarta as well. So if you do like the texturing of micarta, then, you know, they have that option. But this makes it where you don't have that patina where it ages, where it sits there and gets darker and darker and darker, where it absorbs the oils. This doesn't do that, at least not to the extent of regular micarta. So this is going to be smoother and a little bit more dense. A lot more similar to maybe flat or smooth G10. Sorry. Very similar to like smooth G10, I guess, in a way. But anyways, 154 cm blade steel. Clip point blade that is so good. This thing, now, oh yeah, check that choil out. That's how you do a choil. Look at that. See the plunge grind way back here? Look at all that life you have to sharpen off. That's amazing. Great example of a good sharpening choil and plunge grind. Now, this knife is such a sleek, slim, useful knife. One, the blade shape is great for EDC. You know, going around things, opening things up. This tip, very acute, perfect without, it's not too dainty, it's not fragile, but it's perfect for those type of things. And it's slim, yet not so slim that you can't get a good grip on it. So you can still get a good grip on it. Yes, I feel the clip, but I can always choke up right over where a flipper tab would be if it was a flipper knife, if I really needed to hammer down and I didn't want to feel the clip. Reverse grip, same thing, nice and comfortable. Pinch grip's really good. And look at how slim it is. It's a very slim knife, so it's going to carry really good. Now the action, front flipping action, very smooth. And if you're not a big front flipper fan, or maybe you like both, but you always have the reverse flick or thumb flick. So the hole is decent. You have a decent cutout here on the side that you reverse flick it if you're right-handed, and it's relatively easy to reverse flick. It is still a slim knife, but it's still easy. It's easy. And you have the thumb flick too. Or you could always do the slow roll. But the front flipper works great on the Genie, and, you know, it's a solid knife. I have checked it for lockup, and again, I do have a tiny bit of lock rock. Tiny bit. Yeah, so it is what it is. No side to side, no detent lash. Now, like I said before, you know, a lot of times it just needs to, the lock bar just needs to break in. Usually it winds up breaking in. But sometimes, man, sometimes they don't. So, but I do have to mention it because it did come with that. Let me try to lock it up really strong. See, that made it kind of go away, actually. Oh, yeah. If I sit there and like go like that, I can get it to come back. So it's the lock bar breaking in. Anyways, there you guys go. Just a quick look at some of the new knives. I'll link everything I can down in the description. Love you guys. Peace.